Hey there, trail trekkers and tall tale seekers. You're tuned in to the 406 Life, the podcast where Montana Max, your Bigfoot buddy and outlaw gear mascot, yeah, that's me, leads you through the wild, weird, and wonderful corners of Montana. Each week we share stories, legends, and laughs from the last best place. So grab your boots and sense of adventure, because we're about to make some Montana-sized memories. This episode's powered by Outlaw Gear, where rebels get their style. Want to look legendary? Mosey over to I'mAnOutlaw.com and claim your outlaw status. Howdy, friends. This is Montana Max, your local Bigfoot host of the 406 Life, coming to you from the great wild state of Montana, where the mountains are tall, the winters are rude, and somehow, mysteriously, the ground is basically running a secret hot tub business underneath us. Today's episode is all about Montana's most powerful hot springs. And when I say powerful, I don't mean kind of warm if you stand in it long enough. I mean the kind of water that makes you sigh like you've been carrying the weight of the world, or at least the weight of your own poor posture, for the last 10 years. Hot springs in Montana are one of those things that feel almost magical. You're out there in the snow, your eyelashes are freezing together, your nose is questioning your life choices, and then suddenly you're sitting in steaming mineral water like nature just handed you a warm blanket and said, "You've suffered enough." And honestly, that's very Montana. Montana doesn't do comfort in an obvious way. Montana doesn't greet you with palm trees and fruity drinks. Montana greets you with wind, mountains, and the kind of cold that makes you respect your ancestors. But underneath all that toughness, Montana has warmth. Literal warmth. Deep underground warmth. So let's talk about what makes Montana's hot springs so special, so powerful, and so downright legendary. Because these aren't just warm puddles. These are ancient geological wonders. And yes, I just said geological wonders. Bigfoot can be educational. Deal with it. First off, how do hot springs even happen? Because humans love to act like hot springs were installed by some kind of mountain spa contractor. Like someone down there is going, "All right, folks, let's put a relaxing pool right here next to the lodge." No. Hot springs are Earth doing what Earth does. Here's the deal. Rain falls, snow melts. That water seeps down into the ground, deep through cracks and fractures in rock. Montana is full of old, broken, complicated geology. It's basically the Earth's version of a wrinkled flannel shirt. That water travels way down, sometimes thousands of feet, where the planet is hotter. And down there, the Earth doesn't care about your seasonal depression. It's warm all year. So the water heats up. Then, because hot water rises, it comes back up through those cracks, carrying minerals and heat with it. And boom, a hot spring is born, nature's bathtub. Montana's underground miracle. Now, Montana's hot springs come from two main geothermal sources, and they're like two different personalities, kind of like the difference between a calm elk and a chaotic squirrel. First, we have the hot springs connected to the Yellowstone volcanic system. Yes, Yellowstone. That giant simmering beast of geothermal energy that makes tourists say things like, "Do you think it'll erupt today?" And the answer is, please stop asking that. Springs in places like Paradise Valley, including Chico Hot Springs and Yellowstone Hot Springs, are influenced by that deep, magmatic heat. These springs tend to feel softer, smoother, and often have a more spa-like quality. It's like the water is gently saying, "Relax, friend." Very polite, very soothing, like a warm hug from the earth. The second type is heated by radioactive decay inside ancient granite. Now don't panic. This is not superhero radiation. You are not going to leave the pool glowing. This is natural, slow heat produced by elements like uranium and thorium breaking down deep in the rock, It's been happening forever. And it powers springs like Norris, Fairmont, Lolo, and Symes. These waters are often richer in minerals, heavier, and feel like they're doing serious work on your muscles. Like the spring is saying, "Sit down, we're fixing you." Now here's something people don't always realize. Not all hot springs feel the same. Some smell like rotten eggs. That's sulfur. Not because the spring is rude, but because the water is picking up minerals underground. Some springs feel silky. That's often silica. Some make you float more than you expect. That's mineral density. Every hot spring has its own chemistry, its own personality, its own weird little underground story. It's like each one is a different Montana town. Same state, totally different vibe. Ready for your next Montana home? Visit mostwantedrealestate.net, because that's how the West is sold. Now, before we get too deep into the Bigfoot Explains Geology portion of the program, let's talk about something important. Hot springs didn't start mattering when resorts got built. Indigenous tribes valued these springs long before anyone built a lodge or tried to sell a day pass. These were places of healing, gathering, and sacred rest. That history matters. These waters have been part of Montana life for a very, very long time. And honestly, that makes soaking in them feel different. It's not just relaxation. It's connection to the land, to the past, to something older than all of us, even older than me. And I'm extremely old. Let me tell you a few tales, because hot springs are where Montana stories thrive. One winter night I wandered down to Norris Hot Springs, snow everywhere. The air so cold it could slap you. Steam rising off the water like the earth was sighing. There were people soaking under the stars, quiet as church. Someone was playing music nearby, soft and slow. And I remember thinking, this is the closest humans ever get to peace without needing therapy. A guy next to me leaned back and said, "I forgot my phone existed." And honestly, that's the point. Hot springs don't just warm your body. They quiet your brain, even Bigfoot's brain. And mine is usually full of thoughts like, did that hiker just call me a bear again? Another time I visited Symes Hot Springs. An old local told me his granddad used to soak there every week. He said that water fixes everything except stubbornness. Which is unfortunate, because Montana is basically built on stubbornness. But after a long soak, I felt lighter. My joints loosened, my shoulders dropped. For a moment, I considered forgiving everyone who has ever tried to photograph me with a potato-quality camera. Almost. Chico Hot Springs has this historic, classic Montana feeling. Like cowboys, travelers, writers, and wanderers have all passed through. It's the kind of place where you soak and think, people have been doing this for generations. And it reminds you that Montana isn't just wild, it's timeless. Now, beyond the stories and vibes, hot springs have real benefits. Soaking can help. Improve circulation, ease sore muscles, reduce stress, calm your nervous system. Help you sleep better. It's not magic, it's heat, minerals, and your body finally unclenching for the first time since 2020. Hot springs are Montana's reset button. Now Bigfoot PSA time. If you visit hot springs, respect them. Respect the land, respect other people. And please, for the love of all things holy, don't leave trash behind. Nothing ruins a sacred natural soak like a floating energy drink can. Montana deserves better. Even I deserve better. And I live in the woods. Need shipping, shredding, prints, or a real street address? Helena's locally owned and operated the UPS store has you covered. Located at 2047 North Last Chance Gulch. Stop by and get it done right. Now, before you start thinking all Montana hot springs come with parking lots, lockers, and a polite front desk clerk, let me stop you right there. Some of the most powerful hot springs in Montana are undeveloped. No signs, no fences, no lifeguards, no second chances if you ignore common sense. These are the springs you hike to, the ones tucked into canyons, hidden along rivers, or quietly steaming in places you'd miss if you blinked. They're raw, they're beautiful, and they absolutely do not care if you came unprepared. Undeveloped hot springs are where Montana shows its teeth a little. Some of them are perfect temperature. Some of them are way too hot. Some change with the seasons, the snowmelt, or the river level. One week it's a peaceful soak. The next week it's nature saying, "Not today." I've seen folks wander into undeveloped springs thinking they're getting a spa experience, only to realize real fast that Montana does not offer customer service. There's no thermometer, no warning label, and no refund if you don't like the outcome. These places demand respect. You test the water slowly. You watch for sudden temperature changes. You never assume a pool is safe just because it looks calm. And you absolutely, under no circumstances, mess with the natural flow. No stacking rocks, no digging channels, no trying to improve something that's been doing just fine without you for thousands of years. Undeveloped hot springs aren't secret playgrounds. They're living systems. They're also places where the rules of leave no trace actually matter. Pack it in, pack it out. If you bring snacks, wrappers leave with you. If you bring clothes, they leave with you too. If you bring bad decisions, those are yours to keep. Indigenous people respected these waters long before modern visitors showed up with coolers and Bluetooth speakers. The least we can do is not ruin something ancient just because we wanted a cool photo. Undeveloped hot springs are part of Montana's soul. They're not guaranteed. They're not curated. And that's exactly why they matter. Treat them like the privilege they are. Now listen. What you're hearing today is the storytelling version, the campfire conversation, the Bigfoot ramble. But if you want the full extensive breakdown, the science, the locations, the deep details, you can read the complete article at the406life.com. It's all there, beautifully laid out, and it has more information than I can fit into one episode without turning into a full-time geology professor. And trust me, nobody wants that. So whether you're soaking at Norris under the stars, relaxing at Chico with that historic Montana charm, or finding your peace in one of the state's many mineral-rich pools, remember this. Montana's power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it rises through stone. Sometimes it's a steaming pool in the snow reminding you to breathe. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who needs a little warmth in their life. And if you really loved it, leave a 5-star rating. Because even a Bigfoot needs attention and validation sometimes. I mean, I'm out here writing articles, telling stories, doing my best, so throw me a star, folks. And if you've got a story, a person, a hidden spot, or somewhere I should investigate next, send it my way. This is Montana Max. Signing off. Stay warm, stay wild, and I'll see you out there in the steam. Got a Montana story, business, or unsolved mystery you want on the show? Head to the406life.com and drop me a line. No smoke signals required. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a stomp, stumble, or tall tale. Tell your friends, tell your grandma, heck, tell that guy who swears he saw me near Whitefish. I was just buying donuts, all right? Until next time, keep it outrageous, keep it kind, and keep living the 406 life. Montana Max, over and out.
That's the